CGO uses the C bindings for SFML, which means we also, in addition to downloading GoSFML, we also need to download C-SFML. So basically, it's the CSFML is the C bindings for SFML. That was a bit of a mouthful there. So we need to make sure we get the 64-bit version for Windows, since we downloaded the 64-bit GCC compiler. Also, we are running the 64-bit version of Go, right? Everything needs to be 64-bit because that's what we're doing in this tutorial. You could possibly do this tutorial with the 32-bit, right? Just make sure everything's 32-bit. But we're just going to cover 64-bit in this tutorial. So making a folder called C-SFML, which I am going to extract the libraries to. And I think I'm going to put the version number, and I'm checking some notes here on how I did it before. So C-SFML version 2.3, 64-bit. This is going to help just remember what version I'm using, you know, when I come back to it later and I'm looking at that folder. Once again, I am naming folders with underscores like that so that I can avoid weird characters in my file paths. It's just a personal preference. I like all of my file paths to be identifiers that could also be valid variable names. It just reduces some complexity. For instance, you know, if you have file names with spaces in them, it can create problems when you're executing things in the command line. So I just try to keep all of my folder names simple. So we're extracting a library we just downloaded, and we're going to take the contents and we're going to shuffle some things around here. So first we're going to delete that zip file that we just extracted everything out of. Then we're going to go in here, we're going to find all the stuff, we're going to cut all of this out, and then we're going to paste it into the root of the new folder we made. And then we're going to delete that folder because that's just a horrible folder name. Alright, awesome. So we have the CFML library, which is the C bindings for SFML. Awesome. And now we need to set some things up so that it's actually going to work on the, I wouldn't say work on the command line, but we're going to set some things up so that it will wire into Go. So I'm checking some notes. So we're going to have a, this is my own personal variable name. You don't have to have a variable name. This just makes this process a little bit simpler. So I'm going to call it CGO include SFML, which is going to point to the include folder of the C-SFML library. And just double checking. Alright. And then we want another one for the lib. So basically same thing as the last environment variable, but instead of pointing to the include folder, we're going to point to the lib folder. The lib folder has two different subdirectories for two different compilers. So we don't just want to point to the lib folder, we want to point to the GCC subdirectory because that's the compiler we're using. Alright, good. And now we need to set up specific flags that are used in, actually what am I doing here? Oh, yeah, so I need to rename this folder because I put the WIN in the environment variables. WIN for Windows, obviously, you know, and then LIN for Linux. Just a personal convention. And then gotta get rid of that. And then no, it wasn't SFML, C-SFML. Alright, cool. Alright, so there's these DLL files in the bin, and then in include, you have the header files. Header files are just like plain text files, hence why there's not a Linux and Windows version of them, whereas a DLL file is, you know, obviously a Windows thing. So looking at my environment variables again. Alright, just double checking. Those look alright. So the next thing is we need to, this variable right here is a GoLang specific environment variable, and it's used to pass compiler flags to CGO, and we're going to need it. It's basically like, I don't know, like like when you use code blocks, you have like a linker, right? And you use that linker to reference the different headers and DLLs. Well, we don't really have any interface for that, so we just do it with these special environment variables. I will include the text for what these variables are in the notes in the description. You know, it's fairly simple, you know, once you know what they are and that you need to use them. But oh boy, did it take me a while to figure out I needed these, you know, because this was not included in the documentation for GoSFML, right? So I just had to, you know, I see an instruction that says install CSFML, and I have no clue what that means, but, you know, figured it out, and now hopefully I can save you guys a lot of time. Alright, so I got those environment variables set up, and now it's just time to test things out and see if everything's working. Alright, so we're going into the samples folder here, and we're going to find SFML Pong. This is the one I like to test with. And we need to get a prompt. I'm going to use git bash this time. If you don't know how to install git, it's not that hard. Just, you know, look up, I don't know, look up git on online. You'll figure it out, or if I have to, I'll do a tutorial. But there's a lot of information on it. But basically, this is the same thing as like your normal command prompt. Oh wait, sorry, that was... Okay, this one's git bash. The other one was the normal command prompt. Sometimes things will run slightly different on git bash than they will on the Windows command prompt. Sometimes the problem you can run into is just that you're using the wrong command prompt, which kind of sucks. So right now it says that we're missing a header file, which we're not. So I think we got some problems in our setup. Not sure what's going wrong here, but it's not good. So we're going to try to fix this. First thing is we're going to like go through here, see if everything looks like it's in the right place. And looks like it is. That looks like it has the right name according to my notes. Okay, we're gonna have to look at the environment variables. Environment variables, okay, I mean, those look like the correct paths, yeah. Okay, the include points to include. Okay, I'm just gonna copy and paste, you know, like make absolutely sure that those paths are correct. So, you know, just take it, paste it up in the, I'm pasting it in the address bar. Okay, so that goes to the correct place. Okay, now we're going to take the other one. You know, we're just checking to see if we've mistyped the paths is what we're doing right here. So we're going to take that, copy that, And then we're going to paste that in the address bar, make sure that goes to the correct place, make sure there's no typos as well. Okay, that goes to the correct, what do you call it? .a files. You wouldn't call those a header file. You wouldn't call it a DLL either. I don't know what you would call those. Include files. We'll just call it include files. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Possibly I'm missing a flag. But I was pretty sure I only needed those two compiler flags of the CGO flags and the LD flags. You know, one for the includes and one for the libraries. Alright, so what else? You know, sometimes you run into problems when you're setting things up, and you gotta do troubleshooting. I mean, come on, most of programming is just troubleshooting, let's be real. Okay, so just a shot in the dark. Maybe, you know, maybe on the command line this will go better. And nope. Different error, but still not working. So this is what I'm talking about, how using git bash and using the command line you get slightly different results. The interface just, they're not quite identical. As far as the particular details of what makes them not identical, well, I mean, what git bash is like the Linux bash, and CMD is, you know, your Windows bash. So there are things that just aren't the same, you know, like ls in Linux versus dir for directory in Windows. So right now I'm going to paste the DLL files because I know that this step is needed, but I don't think it's a header file error, so I don't think this will fix it, but you know, it's worth giving it a shot, seeing if we get any different errors than last time. Nope, still same error. So whatever reason, it can't find that header file, but I swear I included the header, so yeah, we're gonna have to do another tutorial video, because I'm not sure. I gotta think about this. Yeah, I'll figure it out. But yeah, just skip ahead, go to the next tutorial. We'll figure it out. Kudos to you if you already caught whatever I did wrong. You know, I make mistakes. It's only my second time setting this up.